All right, so we're starting off on the review for the test that's tomorrow, Friday. I'm going to do some specific problems that are very important for the test. You need to make sure and do all of them. The more you do, the better it's going to be. We're going to start off with these first 6. We're not going to do all of them. But y'all did pretty good with this on the quiz, so hopefully this will go good on the test as well. Remember, these are FOIL problems. Take them one step at a time, and they're much easier. So if I'm going to FOIL, I take the first 2 in each. 7x times x is 7x squared. Then I do the outers. 7x times 1 is 7x. The inners, 2 times x is 2x. And the outers, 2 times 1 is 2. Now when you do a FOIL method, the middle 2 terms can be combined. That gives me 7x squared plus 9x plus 2. So on the quiz, a few people misadded these middle terms together. Be really careful, don't mess those up. This is similar, except for we've got 2 terms in the first set of parentheses and 3 in the second. So we're going to take the first term, we're going to multiply it by the first term here. X times x squared is x to the third. Then the second term, x times negative 4x is negative 4x squared. And x times negative 3 is negative 3x. Now we do the same thing with the negative 4. Negative 4 times x squared is negative 4x squared. Negative 4 times negative 4x is plus 16x. And negative 4 times negative 3 is plus 12. Now there's going to be some like terms popping out in here. This is the only x cubed I have, so it comes down here in my answer. I've got a negative 4x squared here and a negative 4x squared there. That's negative 8x squared. I have negative 3x plus 16x, so plus 13x. And then 12 is the only thing without an x, so plus 12. So guys, think of these as individual problems, each just 6 little multiplication problems. It'll make it a lot easier. Now I'm not going to do the rest. 3 and 5 are pretty easy and straightforward. I want to make sure you know in 4 and 9, because I did have people do this. They said, oh, that's x squared minus 81, and that is not correct. That's not going to work. This is x minus 9 times x minus 9. If you even write it out like that, I'm probably going to give you points. Same thing with this one. This is 5x plus 1 times 5x plus 1, not 25x squared plus 1. So be careful on those. Hopefully that'll go good. Now we're going to hit up to some polynomials. Remember, we have some steps we need to take. We always need to try GCF first. So I'm going to look at number 7, and first thing I'm going to think is GCF, and I'm noticing that that does not happen. So it is a trinomial, so I'm going to use sum and product. The a is 1, so that makes it easier. I've got my sum negative 2, my product negative 15. So I'm going to break apart 15. Let's see, 1 and 15. Even if either of them is made negative, they're never going to add up to negative 2, so that's not going to work. 2 doesn't go into 15, but 3 does with 5. Let's see, if I do negative 3 plus 5, I get positive 2. If I put the negative on the 5, 3 plus negative 5 is negative 2. So there are my answers. X plus 3, x minus 5. Since a is 1, we don't have to do the division part in the swing method. So hopefully that goes good. Now let's look at number 8. I've got lots of numbers here, so I'm going to think about GCF first. Let's see, 12, 26, and 10. I think I can take a 2 out. If I have no x's on 10, so it's just going to be a 2. So I'm going to divide. Don't lose the 2. Let's see, it gives me 6x squared minus 13x minus 5. So that's a good first step, but we have a trinomial left. It's going to end up looking something like this. We need to do sum and product for the interior. So we don't care about these numbers anymore. We're only worried about the stuff inside the parenthesis. So my sum is negative 13. My product looks like negative 30. So 1 and 30, even if one of them is negative, not going to give me 13. Next would be 2 and 15. And if I put a negative on the 15, that's negative 30 for a product. And if I add them together, I get negative 13. So I have x plus 2, x minus 15. Now, since a is bigger than 1, I need to divide by 6. And this one is going to have to be simplified. I'm going to write it to the left here. That's x plus, that's 1/3 if I simplify. And x minus 15 over 6, we can take a 3 out of both, leaving us 5 over 2. And now we can swing our answers to the front. I'm going to swing my 3, swing my 2. I get 3x plus 1. and I get 2x minus 5. And that is our answer. And guys, that's about as long as it gets. So make sure you can do those. There's several more on here. I'm not going to do another one, but make sure you practice those. All right. Excuse me. The next two are pretty much the same thing. Over here, you can GCF out of 3. I'll go ahead and give you the hint there. And then you should be able to do sum and product. This one has no GCF. Let's look at it real quick, because we're just going to have to go straight to sum and product. The sum is 1 and the product is negative 6. 1 and 6 won't work. Let's try 2 and 3. Looks like if I make the 2 negative, I get what I want. So we'll have x minus 2, x plus 3. And then since a is bigger than 1, I divide them by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so x minus 1. I can swing the 2 up front and get 2x plus 3. So just a little extra practice there. Let's go to on the back page. 1, 2, 3, 4 left. So 4 total left to do. This needs to be done and turned in. If you want to make a good grade on the test, that's what I would do. So I hope this helps a little bit. Page 11 and 12, pretty much the same things we just did. You might check GCF, and there always could be some that are prime. So do your best to try to find your sum and product before you resort to prime, but it can happen. I want to look at this one right here. This one's kind of tough. If you don't realize, it is a difference of cubes, okay? I've got 8, I've got x to a factor of 3, and I've got 125. So I'm going to say A is the cube root of 8x to the 6th. B is the cube root of 125. Now, if you don't remember, the cube root of 8 is 2. The cube root of x to the 6 is x squared. And the cube root of 125 is 5. Now, there's a formula that goes along with this. If I have subtraction here, and you'll have the formulas on the test, it's a minus b, then a squared, plus a times b plus b squared. I am just going to fill in the a and b's. I have, let's see, 2x squared minus 5. And then I have the a squared, so I'm going to take this a and square everything. That's 4x to the 4th. I'm going to multiply a times b. 2 times 5 is 10, so plus 10 x squared. And I'm using the signs that are right here, plus b squared, which will be 25. And there you go. So that's one of the harder problems. If you get all this stuff and you at least are trying to plug this in, you're going to get a lot of points, but do your best to get those right. Let's look at this next one, 3x squared minus 48. I'm going to try GCF. I know that 3 goes into 48, so I'm going to try that. Don't lose your GCF. The 3's cancel here, and I have x squared minus 48 divided by 3 is 16. So I hope that you recognize that what I have right here is not prime. It's got difference of squares. Don't lose the 3. I'm going to take the square root of x squared is x, and I put it in the front. The square root of 16 is 4. I put it in the back. 1 is plus, 1 is minus. So if you notice difference of squares, and there will be some on the test, that are just this. So look out for those. I mean, if you see 2 terms, there's no number in front of the x, and it's subtraction, you might think difference of squares. That's almost give me points. Let's see what else we got here. Let's look at, I want to look at number 19. We'll go back and do some of the other ones, but 19 and 20 are both very, very easy problems. 64 and 25 are perfect squares, so is x squared, and it's subtraction. I've got another difference of squares. The square root of 64 is 8. The square root of x squared is x, so that goes in my front. The square root of 25 is 5. That goes in my back. 1's plus, 1's minus. I mean, that should be free points. The next one also, 4 is a perfect square, so is x squared, it's minus, and it has another 4. So open up my parentheses. The square root of 4x squared is 2x. The square root of 4 is 2. 1 plus, 1 minus. So guys, really trying those out, very important. We should get those right. We might as well do 17 and 18 real quick. Obviously, this is a GCF, and what I noticed yesterday was some people were forgetting about the variables. I can take a 3 out of 3 and 27, but both of these have at least one x, so I can now take out a 3x. So I divide both sides by 3x. The 3's cancel. 1x cancels. I have x. Don't forget about your 3x. Don't lose it. minus 27 divided by 3 is 9, and the x's cancel out. Now, you might look in the middle here and think 9's a perfect square, but I can't take the square root of just x, so I'm finished. And then we might as well look at this one too. There is no number I can take out, but they both have an x that I can take out. X squared divided by x is x. 6x divided by x is 6. I think that's all the ones I want to do. Might as well do number 16 since we're here. Obviously, we've got a cubed in there, so we might think of the difference of cubes like we did on number 13, or sum of cubes, I'm sorry. This one looks like it has a GCF of 5. Now, for it to be difference of cubes, we have to get perfect cubes. Let's see what we get. 40 divided by 5 is 8x cubed. 8 is a cube, plus 5 divided by 5, and this has gotten you all a lot lately, is 1. Anything divided by itself, 4x squared divided by 4x squared is 1. So remember that. So I do have sum of cubes again, which is a little bit different than what we had up here. This one's going to be a plus b, a squared minus ab plus b squared. So there's a difference in the signs. If you notice here, the negative was in the a and b. Here, it's right there. So they change places. So let's find our a, the cube root of 8x cubed, and our b, the cube root of 1. We've got 2x here, and we've got 1 here. So let's see, we've got 2x plus 1. A squared is going to be 2 squared and x squared, so 4x squared. A times b would just be 2x in this case, 2x times 1. Then obviously 1 squared is just 1. So guys, I will be around in the morning if you need any extra help. We did a bunch of them. Like we have one